Hi. So I'm sorry, it's been quite a while since I've last uh, put up a video, but seeing as it's Thanksgiving and I'm all alone in the apartment cooking Thanksgiving dinner, I was actually flirting a little bit earlier, and being in Columbus Circle, the parade traffic makes the streets unbearable. So I'm going to give a small review of my recent trip to Austin, Texas, which was about 2 weeks ago. I only went for 4 days, and I went during the middle of the terrible cold front that took over almost all of America, with the exception of Florida, which I was in the week before. And I had never been to Austin before, so I kind of packed everything beforehand, expecting really warm weather, and when I got there, it was freezing cold, and there was ice on the water. It was nothing I'd ever expected of one of the hottest states in the country, and it was still a wonderful experience. Flying down, I think I flew with Delta, and the seats are very comfortable in Delta. It's like nice, soft, plush leather, but we had on the way down, we did upgrade to those Coach Plus seats that have extra leg room, and so that was all right. It was a middle seat, but it wasn't at the back of the plane, and we saved like 30 minutes getting off, which a lot of people don't really think of. If you get off the plane, if you sit at the back of the plane, not only do you board last, but by the time you get off the plane, it's like 45 minutes after the people in first class have already gotten onto the highway and are halfway home. So sitting at the front of coach is always a priority for me. And I was willing to sacrifice a middle seat. We'll sacrifice a window seat for a middle at the front. But the seats were plush. There were pretty much no problems. Delta doesn't give you any food that's good on the domestic flights, but they do give you beverages, and I think they give you some small cookies. I don't know, because I did get the tapas plate, and I did get their cheese plate. The cheese plate was good. I wasn't really a fan of the tapas plate. It had like little vegan crackers and then rosemary crackers and some weird tasting hummus and stuff. But the cheese plate was fine, and the water that I had was, there were no complaints on my part. But the flight was about 3 hours. It wasn't bad. There was a little bit of turbulence. On the way back, there was a lot of turbulence, and it was a little nerve-wracking because all of the flight attendants were buckled in, and the oxygen masks didn't come down, but it was still kind of an unsettling ride home. But anyway, it was also, I think it was some sort of holiday weekend, and so we got little chocolate bonbons. And the flight down was uneventful. Getting there, I stayed at the Driskill Hotel, which, in my opinion, being such a knowledgeable Austinite that I am not, it's the nicest one there, and that's only because I did research it for 3 months prior to my trip. I spent about 2 months booking that weekend because there were 5 weddings. Obviously, it's very popular for gatherings. It's also notoriously haunted. There are supposed to be 5 or 6 different ghosts. Unfortunately, none of the ghosts wanted to make any contact with me, though I did pass out while I was walking one day, and I slipped getting out of the shower or getting out of the bathtub or something. And I'm usually somewhat agile on my feet, having been a dancer and all. But other than that, it was a beautiful, very elegant hotel with gorgeous rooms. It's very historical. It's one of the historical monuments of America, and I would recommend it. It's right in the middle of downtown. It's on 6th Street, which is supposed to be where all of the nightlife is. So if you're big into partying, which I wouldn't say I'm that big into partying, but if you're big into the party scene of Austin, there are little birds outside. You just walk out the hotel and make a left, and it's half a block away. So that's really great for that. There's a lot of live music in the Austin scene. Almost every bar. Well, it's very cheap, number one. It's nothing like New York. I know if people want to pay some sort of a cover to go into a place in New York, it's like a $500 bottle or a $5,000 table, and the only way guys can get a discount is if they go in with a promoter, and that's still $150 that they have to spend, and it's like $10 a person to go into a really fun place in Austin. So it's very cheap. It's a very nice live music themed atmosphere, and it's a very fun kind of young crowd. I did notice in Austin that a lot of the girls have stomachs, even the slim ones, and I'm not sure if it's because of the surplus of meat that they eat, or their diets, but that was one thing that I did kind of observe while I was there. Another thing that I did in Austin was visit the one of the few ranches that has actual Texas Longhorn cattle. I know watching this video you might be surprised that's their state animal, I think, and there seem to be so many, but the truth is that these Longhorn cattle are actually really, really critically endangered because the ones that we see have all been mutated and they've been crossbred with all of these different cattle that just produce more meat, but it's less tasty and higher in fat, and they don't birth as well. So, and they're kind of ugly by comparison as well. But I did get to visit one of these ranches where there was ice on the water because it was so cold in Texas, and I got to see the cattle. I think I might have taken a picture of them, and I got to then try their wonderful meat in Texas Longhorn chili. So it was very nice. And there's less fat in Texas Longhorn cattle than there is in turkey. So that's an interesting little bit of information if you like meat. And so I did that, and I also visited a museum of oddities on 6th Street. So I didn't really get to see that much. I did see this museum which had this frozen man and had all of these weird little mermaids, and it's supposed to also be haunted, so I suppose Austin is a very ghost-filled city. But one thing that I kind of drew from my experience in Austin, Texas, was that people are very happy and they have kind of a great vibe, and they are very strong. I don't know if I say strong, but they're very strong people, because when I went to this piano bar one night, there is a section of the night that they apparently have every evening in which they ask all of the military widows to come up on stage, and the stage was completely filled. It was very long. There were like 15 widows singing and dancing on stage. And then the next day I went to a church there. I went to an Episcopal church, and there was a woman next to me who had an oxygen tank that she was carrying around with her, and she's all smiles, and obviously she's going through something difficult, but I found Austinites to be very courageous, and I did enjoy my experience. The food is very good. from what I've had. So that's all I have to say about Austin, Texas.